Hello, today is 10:23. Sorry if you've been looking for this and hasn't been up there. I got a little behind. Life got in the way. Sorry about that. So here we are anyway. Here was Wednesday the 23rd. Our word today is pronounced intuition. Intuition, you may have heard of it before, but it's a feeling that you have. It's just you know something. It's not based on evidence or facts. It's literally just your opinion on something. People will describe this as I've got a gut feeling. I just know this. Not really good for our paragraphs, our essential question paragraphs, but sometimes, your intuition does serve you right and serve you well. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. People might say things like, I got a feeling it's going to be a good day today. I got a feeling this game is going to go our way. And so it's just this feeling. It doesn't come from anything. It just comes from our own thinking. Transcendentalists would say that that's a part of that we have to believe that and trust in that. And transcendentalism, by the way, is a word we haven't seen yet. You will see it though today in a reading you're going to do. There's the word right there, transcendentalism. Try to say that a few times. That leads us into our target. We're looking at how reform, the Second Great Awakening, and transcendentalism are connected. I want you to write a sentence on how those are all connected. Like, what is the common thread between them? Think about that, and you'll find out what a definition is for that in a moment. We're going to do some reading today and some independent reading. Remember, our textbook is online, and it will read it to you. That helps a lot. This is just a basic sum of what is happening in the United States at this time that leads to a change of thought. So that's chapter 17, section 2. Remember that to log into our textbook, you have to go to hopefully your bookmark spot or Teach TCI. Type in the teacher username, which is DMS, your individual book number, which is SS, and then a number between 1 and 75. And then the password is all lowercase cardinals. So something you'll need when you do your textbook is inside of Schoology. We are in the era of reform, chapter 17. That's our purple folder. And you are going to see right here, 17.2, the spirit of reform. Go ahead and put this on your own sheet of paper. You don't have to wait to get a sheet from me. It is going to look like this. When it pulls open, you're going to do some defining of some words. This is from a picture. And then some messages, optimistic messages. So optimism is something positive. And remember reform, and I'm going to slip to another slide here that I made that people looked at after you finish the study or this worksheet. I started by just saying a reminder that reform is making changes to bring about improvements or end some bad stuff. So that's what reform is. And then that's our essential question, which we'll get to later. And then Second Great Awakening, it's a religious time period. And so it's weird, like, how do those two go together? Well, when you do this worksheet, you'll see that there are a couple of optimistic messages that come out of the Second Great Awakening. And they tie into this idea with reform and how people should do stuff to change and to better society. Well, that sounds like that's reform right there. And then you have to define transcendentalism. Remember, in our textbook, anything that's blue will get highlighted for you. So that'll give you a definition. And then some major beliefs. I'll go over those with you in a moment. Hopefully you'll pause this video and find them on your own, read the section, and then unpause my video. And then down here at the bottom is some application of it. And thinking about what that quote means. And then down here, look, there's our target. 3 words, how they're connected. So think about that and then write about that. So go ahead and pause this video and go ahead and go to that and work on these questions. When you're done, then unpause me so I can talk to you a little bit more about this. All right, hopefully you paused me. I know the temptation was there to not pause me and let me tell you the information. So I appreciate if you didn't do that. This was a picture of a revival, and that was found in the Second Great Awakening. You'll notice lots of people, lots of women especially, attended these. Men and women did, but women had more of an opportunity, especially ones that came from a wealthier class of people. Women typically didn't work once they had children, for sure. And then back here in the background, you've got tents. So kind of implies that people probably stayed here for a while. It wasn't just a one day sort of thing. It was a multiple day. All of these people behind him were maybe important people, or they might be up next to speak. They would have a whole series of speakers. And so the question is, what would they talk about? Well, they shared this optimistic message. They shared that everyone can gain forgiveness for sins. Now, this is definitely on that religious line. I want to tell you, though, that before this, a lot of religious figures in the United States believed that our life was predestined, that what was going to happen to us everything had already been determined. So every sin, every decision in life was already set in stone, and you were only living your life to try to prove that you were a good person. But everything was already decided for you: who you would marry, what type of job you would have, children you would have, if how you would die, if you would get in trouble with the law, end up in prison. All of that was already determined. So now these revivals, these ministers, religious figures, would be teaching a different message, that we can be forgiven, we can carve our own path to the future, and that by doing good things, we're going to be saved. And for our purposes, these good works are going to help improve society. So it's a little self-serving that you do good things to ensure your future. But in the end, what it ended up doing is it got people doing things to help others. And that's what's important for us in history, because we're talking about reforms, changing bad stuff to have good results. Well, now people have a huge motivator to do this because it's to benefit them and their future and what happens to them. So then we add into it the idea of transcendentalism, which is this belief that people have this unlimited potential. They should think about how we've always done things and question if that's the right way to do it. People should trust their gut. They should trust their intuitions. They should start thinking about, is this the right way we should do things? How do I feel about that? And so some people started to question slavery, for example. Is it okay to own other people? And some people started to say, no, that doesn't feel right. And then finally, that don't conform to other people's expectations. Like, just because you're a woman doesn't mean that you can't have a job. Doesn't mean you can't go to college. People were saying no. But a lot of women started to say, wait a minute, just because it's always been done that way, does it mean that I can't be a doctor? Does it mean I can't be a lawyer? And so people started again to question how things had been done and what the normal roles and rules were. So think about how all three of those, lots of people believing that they should be doing good things, the fact that, that there are injustices out there and people are starting to question if these injustices are right or wrong. Think about how they all tie together. And definitely this answers the question of, why did we have reform happening in the early 1800s and not before? Well, people's ideas about how they should live and what they should do really started to change. So that really, and then we just talked about this kind of like I am with you. It's an interesting time period, thinking about, why change happened. Well, it's because of all of these three and how they're connected. So take some time to think about that. It's a pretty heavy lesson, a lot of heavy details to it. Changing hearts and minds of people is not easy. So, but this is a time period when a lot of that started to happen. So as always, if you have questions, let me know. Show me that sheet when you get it done, and if you have any questions on it. Otherwise, we're going to talk more about this tomorrow and how some of these reforms changed. All right, have a great day.